Hello, Julian.
Hello, Mike. Hey, Mike, the
Yep.
guest we got on tonight,
Yep.
she reckons her favourite chemical is methane because it smells of farts. But I reckon her life smells of roses.
I reckon you're right.
Her name's Ruth Greenhill. Should we get her in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hi, I'm Mike Brampton.
And my name is Julian Ho.
Welcome to Veterinary Ramblings.
We interrupt the show for an important announcement.
Hi there, dedicated listeners. We just wanted to take a little time outside of the show as we got something very exciting to share with you.
We have exclusive Veterinary Ramblings merchandise available now, including T-shirts, mugs, posters and prints.
Now, personally, I think my favourite is our T-shirt with a hilarious diagram of cat anatomy, which has been revised to include their sandpaper tongue and treat-detecting ears.
And essential for all veterinary students. If you would like to show your support for the show, head over to veterinaryramblings.com and select either the merch button for a one-off purchase through our T-Mill store or select Become a Patron.
I'm sure you'll be absolutely chuffed to know that everything in our T-Mill store is fully sustainable, carbon neutral and shipped in plastic-free packaging. By making a one-off purchase, you will help us to plant more trees, save water and reduce carbon emissions.
If you want to further support us, become a Patreon and receive items you cannot get through one-off purchasing, a shout out on the show, and exclusive Veterinary Ramblings content.
Every single purchase made will really help us keep on interviewing amazing guests. But if nothing else, we do appreciate you tuning in.
Now,
on
with the show. Ruth, good evening.
Maybe she can embroider some hair for me. Hello, Ruth.
Nice to meet you, Ruth.
Nice to meet you both.
Well done. So tell us about your scuba. We'll get into nursing in a minute. That's fine. We can do that. But tell us about snorkeling. Tell us about snorkeling first, because there is a progression, isn't there?
Well, yeah. So I went snorkeling on a whim once. I was in Greece with my boyfriend, and they were selling snorkels nearby. So we were like, well, let's just buy one and see what we can see. And we saw an octopus, and we didn't expect to see that. And actually, there was a local man out with us, and we said, there's an octopus. And he was like, no, like, don't say that. And we were like, no, there is. Like, here, take the snorkel, have a look. And he was really excited because apparently you don't normally see them where we were. So that was a very good intro to snorkeling. And then, this March, I was very, very lucky to go on a sort of dream holiday with my sister. And we went to the Maldives and we snorkeled every day. And it was the best experience I've ever had. So, yeah, now I want to go further down in the ocean. So I'm going to be doing my paddy tomorrow.
You're doing you're doing your paddy, are you?
Paddy. All right.
Put another $1
What did you guys?
in. Put another $1 in.
No, it's okay. Not many people die with paddy. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's the other one, isn't it? Pay and die. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, pay and die. So what course are you doing tomorrow then?
There's
Open water diving, but it's just the pool dives. And then next month, I'll be going to Cyprus and doing the rest of it in the actual sea, because I didn't want to do it in the freezing cold in the UK. So.
I learned to dive with BZAC in the UK in Plymouth, and I had a 7mm wetsuit with an additional 7mm jacket, and I was toasty warm for most of it. And then I dived at a place called Burrator, which is a flooded reservoir in Devon, down to a depth of 30 meters, and it was 4 degrees C, and it was very, very cold.
Wimp.
I started shivering.
Wimp.
Even
Yeah,
the
I can
usual,
imagine.
Wetsuit, so you're wet.
Hey! Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Mike?
Can I turn it veterinary? Can I turn it anaesthesia?
Yes,
Ruth,
if you must.
you're doing your qualification. Why is a snorkel the length a snorkel is? And can you get longer ones?
Well, you don't
So
want to
why
have a
not get
longer one because then you're.
If you get a 20-meter snorkel, you don't need to scuba dive, do you?
I think Ruth's got this. I think Ruth's got this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you don't want an extended dead space because you're going to have all the air that you've exhaled just hanging in there. So you want it to be as short as possible so it can be above the water, but you're getting the best flow of, well, air in and out. I don't know.
Do you know how much dead space any mammal can withstand or tolerate in relation to each breath? I'll save you that one.
No.
10 to 15%.
10 to 15.
Yeah, percent.
Of tidal volume, long volume.
Tidal volume. So I'm going to stop there because it'll get contentious and we'll start talking about textbook wisdom versus evidence-based measurement. And some of our veterinary listeners will get all upset because they'll go, Mike's gone off on an anaesthesia rant.
But go off on your anaesthesia rant in a second, because there's another reason, isn't there, that snorkels aren't longer. What would happen if you had a 20-meter snorkel?
You wouldn't be able to breathe.
Absolutely.
It'd just be annoying.
That's what Ruth said. That's what Ruth said.
2 atmospheres of pressure.
Yeah, but equally, all you'd be doing is you'd be breathing out or breathing in what you've just breathed out.
Yeah, if you could.
The volume, which is what Ruth said.
Yeah. So the old iron lung style scuba gear, was it? Scuba means self-contained.
What, the deep sea diver stuff?
The old deep sea diver stuff. Yeah, these things. They used to have to pump at several times respiratory rate to try and get past the dead space volume within this 10 to 20 meter tube.
Yeah.
Huge pressures. And often they were smoking next to it. And often they just forgot for a while. And often the divers died. So it was not very good, really, was it?
No. And from those experiences, an American group of divers got together and thought, we've learned some lessons here. We'll charge some other people to learn to dive properly. And they called it Patrick or something. Paddy.
Patty.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
You can probably tell, Ruth, that neither of us are Paddy qualified. We're both BSAC qualified.
The British Sub-Aqua Club. So for our American listeners, the British Sub-Aqua Club, BSAC, is much safer, generally better. But no, you want to do that, that's fine. That's fine.
They haven't got BSAC in America, though.
Haven't they?
No.
They got ASAC.
ASAC. Sad sack.
ASAC, yeah. We've got BISAC. Yeah. That means 2. Yeah. Excellent stuff. So carry on. So you fell in love with this whole snorkeling thing, and then you decided that you were going to dive deeper and strap tanks on your back and just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know why, because about 15 years ago, I did some sort of intro to scuba in a swimming pool, and I absolutely hated it. I hated the feeling of only being able to breathe in and out of that mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm.
But now, because I have more of a reason to do it, I want to see how I find it, and I just want to challenge myself and see what it's like, and hopefully I do enjoy it.
I think,
and you've got used to the breathing pump with the snorkel, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. I think that you will. Only from my limited experience, about day 2 or day 3, there will come a point where you'll suddenly lose what is it that I'm doing. And so long as you don't just rip it out your mouth and go straight to the surface, you'll be okay. You just need to calm down, work out what's going on, and then you'll be fine. And just keep breathing. But I've seen that happen a number of times. Day 2 or 3.
Breathing.
Yeah, just
absolutely. Don't hold your breath.
Just keep
breath
breathing.
Holding is bad. Keep breathing.
Yeah, there we go. And if you don't like scuba, there's always free diving.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I love free diving. we were giving that a go when me and my sister were away, and well, she's now done a course to help her with that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Where did she do the course?
No.
Well, she did the course in Jordan, in the I think the Red Sea.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Has she dived the blue hole?
I have no idea, but she has done a lot of diving. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and in Jordan, I think they have an aeroplane that was actually sunk on purpose for divers to go and see the wreck, which is quite cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really
so what
cool.
depths was she getting? What depths were you getting with your free diving?
I have no idea, but there was a big boat and we were going down as far as we could, and it was really fun.
Brilliant stuff. So you can enjoy that. So even if you don't like your scuba, you can go back to that, can't you? But you keep yourself pretty trim, don't you, Ruth? I know we're not supposed to say that sort of thing because you're into ballet dancing as well.
Oh yeah, I love ballet. That's something that I've done sort of since I was 11 years old, and I've kept doing since. I won't say how old I am just about now, but it's been many years since then.
That's fabulous.
Wow. And is that
really hard work, isn't it?
Royal School of Ballet? RSB, is it? Or
yes, it's called the Royal Academy of Dance.
Right.
But it's you need to have sort of a lot of discipline to keep doing your ballet and to maintain flexibility and the strength, because even though ballerinas aren't sort of typical big muscles, you have to have a lot of core strength to be able to do that. So I mean, when I was at uni, I stopped doing it for a year, and I found myself getting really, really stressed, and I wasn't enjoying, like, I guess, life in general as much, because I wasn't doing ballet, which has always sort of kept me really relaxed and really grounded, and it's something I've always looked forward to doing every week. So ever since then, when I didn't do it for 1 year, I've always made sure I continue to do it. And even with jobs, I've let my employer know, oh, on a Tuesday evening, I have ballet class. So you're going to have to let me finish at 5 p.m. on the dot because I need to go to ballet. And actually, my employers have been really good for that. So that's something I really
fantastic. Excellent. Excellent. And is that ballet for progression? You just sort of keeping up your ballet, or you're doing further exams in it? Because my daughters both did their ballet exams up to grade whatever, and then eventually dropped it. They none of them got particularly high, because you can get is it grade 8? I'm really out of my depth.
Yes.
You can tell. I did tap dancing. I used to do tap dancing. I got grade 3 tap dancing when I was 11 or 12.
I think I probably got about similar with tap dancing. I did tap dancing before I did ballet, because I didn't want to go into ballet class as a small child because it seemed really boring because it was quiet. And the tap dancing seemed a lot more exciting because they were all banging their feet around. But then when I was older, I realised it was actually ballet I preferred a lot more. But now with what I do, it goes up to like gold. Is the final grade, which I did many years ago. So now it's just a case of doing it for enjoyment. But I used to do shows and like charity displays and things like that, and competitions.
Yeah,
wow.
Of course, because the Royal Academy of Dance is linked with the Royal Academy of Dancing and Acting, RADA, which so I did LAMDA, which is the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. I did my acting up to gold, a tap up to 3. So I think with acting it's up to grade 8 and then bronze, silver, gold. So the ballet
that's the same with ballet.
Yeah. Have you been in shows with your ballet?
Yeah, I've performed at the Royal Albert Hall, different theatres in London, like Her
Wow.
Majesty's. Yeah. I've done lots of different shows. When I was I lived in Sheffield for a few years. I was part of a sort of local arts group, and we did some shows in an old steelworks, which was really cool. Sheffield is famous for its steel. We were bringing life back into it.
Well, Sheffield was famous for its steel, wasn't it? Not so much anymore.
Yeah. Not so much now, but you still find knives and forks with it on nowadays.
You do, and it's still well known. But when I went to college in Sheffield, and that was in the the late 70s, early 80s. And
they let him in when he was only 5.
Yeah. And in the years that I was there, that was the time of the miners' strike, the coal miners' strike, Margaret Thatcher, and the steel industry strikes. Arthur Scargill. And it completely changed the face of Sheffield as it is today. But still a great city with a great heart and lovely people. So
really nice.
So Ruth, tell me, you tell your employers, whoever they may be at this point, that Tuesday nights are sacred because that's when you do your ballet. But I thought that you work nights.
Yeah, so I work nights now, which is a new thing in the last 2 years. So it's a bit different now, because especially with the pandemic, obviously couldn't go to a dance studio then. So I've learned to be able to do it anywhere and any time. So if my night shift pattern means that I can't go to a class, I will utilize my break on my shift to do some ballet, because I think particularly in a night shift, it's good to have both a mental and physical break from what you're doing. So I've had it before where actually we've been lucky on the night and it's been quite a quiet moment. And me and the vet that I was working with, I used to teach her we used to do some ballet, just bring our heart rate down and to relax, and then just work on our strength so we can lift those heavy dogs and things. So yes, now I'm working nights. I'm quite lucky because there's different days I can do my classes. So I work 4 nights on and 8 nights off. So it actually means I can normally do 1 class a week, but I can do it online as well. So that's okay.
So you work 4 nights on and 8 nights off?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so what do you do for those 8? Do you switch to days or?
Well, they're off completely.
They're off completely. So I just enjoy my life and do my hobbies and everything that I enjoy. That keeps me sort of happy and relaxed, really.
Okay, so
And what are your hobbies?
You do a block 4 nights and then have 8 days and nights off.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It sounds ideal.
Yeah.
Sounds, wow, we all.
It's a really good deal.
Yeah. So what are your hobbies? Tell us about your hobbies. We
scuba diving.
Snorkeling, scuba diving, and ballet. You can't fit anything else in, surely.
No, I love going on adventures. So I like going, whether that's going on hikes or I do stand-up paddle boarding. So I now live near some rivers, so I can go and paddleboard on them. I like to travel, so I do go on holiday, but I need to I think I need to do a bit less of that to save money and enjoy sort of the English countryside. And then I really like arts and crafts, so I do embroidery, and I've just always got different projects on the go. At the moment, we've just moved house, so I'm making curtains and doing artwork for the house and different things like that. So I'm very busy outside of work, and I'm just always doing things.
I'm rather intrigued by this, because we speak to a lot of people who go through the normal progression. They've wanted to become a nurse or a vet from a very young age, and they've studied hard at school. They've gone to college, got their qualifications, and then they've sort of sat in this. It's never a 9 to 5 in veterinary medicine, is it? It's more like a 7 till 8 type of existence. But it strikes me that you sort of turned that on its head. I mean, was this a conscious thing, or has this just evolved and you thought that's a good idea at the time?
So I think partly it is a conscious thing, in that when I was at university where I started my nursing studies, I learned, as I kind of said before, about not doing ballet for a year and that sort of affecting me. I learned that I needed to kind of focus on what was important to me. And obviously my job is extremely important to me. I'm really passionate about being a vet nurse and I enjoy it a lot. But in order to be able to give my job 100%, then I need to be 100%. So since I qualified, and even before then when I was a student, but finishing my studies at college, I had a day off a week as a student, actually, just so I could have time to focus on things that weren't veterinary. So I wasn't essentially going to end up burnt out, like a lot of people often do become, and to go back to work and always be sort of have enough energy to bring to work and give it my all. But since the pandemic, I moved. So I was doing days kind of mid-pandemic. And obviously with everything that was going on, there was, well, for me, everything became work. And after about 8 months of life becoming just work again, I was like, no, I need time out. And then I went on to the nights, and I haven't looked back ever since, because it's really allowed me to have a good balance.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So you mentioned burnout there. So we've met a few people who've said, yeah, I was almost at breakdown point. So have you experienced that? Have you had friends that have gone through that?
Well, I think a lot of my friends, colleagues, past and present, have gone through burnout. Myself, after I think it was 8 months, but to be honest, it's all a blur, of doing the 2020 vet nursing in the day. To be honest, I took 3 months out of work completely, and I moved back with my parents, and I reassessed everything, because I'd just been working all the time. Even in my sleep, I could still hear the drip pumps beeping and the phone going, and I was just, everything was just racing, and I just needed time to have a step back and sort of reassess how I would stay in the industry that I loved, but stay in it and stay happy and healthy whilst I was doing what I love. And for me, that was to give the night nursing a go. There were other reasons to that, partly because I was living with my parents in central London, and I didn't want to be exposing myself to loads of people in the day. So I knew if I was working at night, I'd be in contact with the public and team members less. But yeah, once I started those night shifts, it worked out really well for me. And now it's hard to think about going back to days.
Sure. I'm trying to piece this together, because I think you've really hit the nail on the head about burnout and wanting to get this excellent work-life balance. And a lot of us, I think, settle, particularly in the veterinary profession, for as good as or second best. it looks like you've gone one step ahead and have really chosen what do you need in terms of hours worked to get your money? What do you want to fulfill your career? And what do you want and need to stay sane, focused, relaxed, and live long? And I just wondered, how are you feeling at the end of the 4-day shift? Are you thinking, my God, I need those 8 days off? Or are you thinking, this is fine, I'm enjoying this is great, I'm in control. Oh, and by the way, I have 8 days off. So is it what if you change it to 5 days on? Could you handle that? I'm not suggesting you should. I'm just thinking, are your levels of stress building through those 4 days to the point that if you didn't have the time off after that, you wouldn't be able to manage it in the short or the long term?
Yeah, so I'd say I'm definitely in the kind of latter example that you gave there, where at the end of the 4 nights, I'm like, oh, this has been fun. Like, I've really enjoyed what I'm doing. Oh, now I have 8 nights off. That's brilliant. And then when I come back for my first night, I never ever feel the dread. I never feel that like Monday dread, depending on what day it is. I'm always really excited to go back to work, and I'm like, yes, I'm at work. Like, what's going to happen now? But recently I did 6 nights in a row. So I'm currently working in a new job. I've been working here for 3 months now. Prior to that, I was working 7 nights on and 7 nights off. And what I learned when I did that was that after 5 nights, that's when I started to struggle. And so did the vet that I work with as well. I don't really think it's that healthy doing 7 on or 7 nights in a row for extended periods of time, because it really does take a toll on you. And yeah, recently when I did 6 nights in a row, on that last 6th night, I just came in and I started crying in the dog ward, and the nurse, the day nurse who was handing over, was like, I'm so sorry, what's happened? I was like, I'm just tired and nothing's happened. I need to release some emotion now. And I think you have to be careful when you do nights, and you have to know what you can manage, because your body does need to rest. And you can get tired, or you can get in your own thoughts, and you just need to be aware of how much your body can handle. And if you want to take on extra shifts, whether it's sensible to do that, because if you're just going to take on an extra shift for, let's say, extra money or to help out, if it's at a detriment to yourself, then maybe it's not good to do that, and you maybe need to stay back.
That's an excellent answer. Yeah. I'm going to turf my job in and just do 4 days.
You only do 2
anyway.
Just 4 days, not 4 days on.
You only do 2 anyway.
Shh. Don't tell Ruth that.
There's nothing wrong with being part-time.
Yeah. Well, that's part-time as a general practitioner. He works other times as well.
Exactly.
I do. I'm just a guy who can't say no. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Trying to organise schedules as to when we're going to record Veterinary Ramblings.
Well, I'm working every night in 23, but I think 24 we can probably get a couple of shifts in.
Yeah. Nightmare.
Do you have any shows coming up at the moment with your ballet?
No, none at the moment.
And when did you wake up and think, am I going to be a ballerina or a vet nurse?
Well, I knew I couldn't be a ballerina because I have bow legs, which means that they kind of go like this. And also,
well, that's constantly in position too, isn't it?
No, but if I was to be professional, that you wouldn't be able to do it all the time if your bones are like that, apparently. But also, my parents are quite tall. And if you're a child going into the Royal Ballet School, they look at your parents' heights to determine if you're going to be that tall. turns out I'm very short. But back then they presumed I would grow to be very tall. So yeah, with that, they would have never let me in. So I always knew I wouldn't be a ballerina. And also, maybe growing up, I was kind of taught that those professions aren't sustainable. Don't know if I believe that now. So I always wanted to be in veterinary. I didn't want to be a professional dancer.
From what age did you want to get into veterinary then?
So I have a little A4 piece of paper from when I was in year 2 at school. Now I think that's around 7, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
And on that piece of paper, it says, I want to be an Olympic tennis player. I can't play tennis for the life of me.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure I copied that from the person next to me. I want to be a vet and I want to be a gymnast. So at that age, I had no idea what a vet nurse was. So I wanted to be a vet. And I actually wanted to be a vet until I was 20, which is when I actually had a place at the RVC. And I had already chosen my accommodation in London, and I was set to go to vet school on my second attempt at applying. And I did some work experience at a veterinary hospital, and they had a really, really, really good work experience placement where it was 2 weeks and they had this set rota where you followed different members of staff. So I didn't just stand in the vet's room or in the operating theatre. I followed the receptionist, I followed the nurses, and I followed the kennel assistants. And on that placement, that's when I realised what the difference was between a vet nurse and a vet. So I chose not to go to the vet school. And I actually went and did zoology for a bit because I thought I don't want to rush into anything because I've wanted to be a vet for so long, and then I can figure out what I want to do. And that's when I knew that I wanted to be a vet nurse. And I'm really happy I made that decision because I know I would not enjoy being a vet at all.
Amazing. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
And have you ever regretted it?
No, I've never regretted it. I'm so happy I did that because I think if I had somehow survived vet school, I would have probably left the profession in my first few years because I know that being a vet is definitely not for me.
Cool. That's really interesting.
Yeah. They are, we always think of them as being the same part of the profession. Whether you're a vet or a veterinary nurse, you're still dealing with animals that are unwell and dealing with animals that are healthy and trying to keep them healthy. But they are very, very different, and yet both necessary jobs, aren't they? You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, they're complementary, aren't they?
Complementary. That's the word. That's the word I was looking for. And had I not had that gin, I would have remembered it.
Almost certainly, Julian. Almost certainly. So, in that case, then, on Veterinary Ramblings, because we talk about veterinary and we ramble and we like to find out about our guests, and we've got a section of the show that I think you probably know about, because I understand you've listened to the show.
Of course, I've listened to the show.
You'd be surprised who's listened to the show or who hasn't listened to the show.
Great, so we've got a listener.
Say next, then, Ruth. What am I going to challenge you with now?
No, it's the 60-second CPD.
It's the 60-second CPD. It is indeed. So you've gone through. You've studied a lot of different things, and you've got an exam tomorrow. Do you not? Albeit scuba diving.
Yes.
Still a test. Okay. All good.
We do. Now, I should explain that actually most of our
listeners
are listeners. They don't watch, and so a couple of times we paused and we've all three of us done the OK signal where you circle thumb and index finger and keep the other 3 fingers up to give the OK sign. And in diving and snorkeling, we would do that rather than giving a thumbs up sign, because what does the thumbs up sign mean?
Well, thumbs up means you need to go to the surface. So you don't want to say thumbs up because your dive's over.
Thumbs up, bad thing when you're diving. Thumbs down, you go down. Thumbs up, you go up. OK is OK. You know what that signal means?
No air.
No air? Absolutely. Do you know what that signal means?
Clownfish.
More eels got my nose. But there are a few signals you can give underwater. But of course, when you're listening and all you hear is this blank and everyone laughs, you think, yeah, I didn't get that. So we're doing the OK signal. We can backtrack that now.
There we go. Perhaps we should have started that right at the start and said,
we should have done. And
we're all
back
three.
to the test you're doing tomorrow.
There
Is
we
it a
go.
written test?
No, so I've done the written test today, which was online, but tomorrow it will be the pool test, so a practical test.
Right. And what do you have to do in your practical test?
Different skills like taking your mask off underwater and clearing the water from it, taking your mouthpiece out and being able to breathe without air. Various skills.
That would be a trick. I think what you mean is being able to replace it.
Yeah, being able to replace it. Trying not to drown.
If you can breathe without air, you don't need padding or anything.
Yeah. I used to be a snorkeling instructor years ago. And I used to teach kids. And my favourite trick was to get them all lined up on the side with all their gear, their fins, their snorkels, their masks, all checked, all ready. And I make them take them all off. And then I'd walk along the line and throw them all in the pool. And then I'd say, class starts in 3 minutes, go.
Back on.
I think they used to love me.
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
We've rambled. 60-second CPD. Come on then, Ruth. So are you up for the challenge?
Of course I'm up for the challenge.
Perfect. So what are you going to do 60-second CPD on?
So it's on how to overcome exam fear. And that's very personal to me because I used to really hate exams. I still do a bit, but I hated them in a very unhealthy way.
Oh, right. Okie dokie. All right, then. So 60-second CPD, Ruth Greenhill, on how to overcome exam fear. Have I got that right?
Yeah.
Starting now.
Exams. We all do them, whether to gain a qualification or further our knowledge. But for some people, they suffer with more than a healthy amount of exam nerves. Preparation and personalised learning styles can help us prepare for an exam. But some other tools to help overcome exam panic are timetabling to allow yourself to study as well as enjoy and look after yourself. If you become panicked when revising, work off that adrenaline, perhaps through going for a run or having a dance workout. If you need special arrangements for an exam, get these set up in advance, such as taking the test in a small side room as opposed to a large exam hall, or having regular breaks through the examination. If you're really struggling, visit your doctor who may be able to prescribe medications to control your nerves, or refer you to a therapist if this is an ongoing problem. Lastly, during the exam, practice being present. If you feel yourself panicking, take deep breaths and focus on your senses. What can you hear? What can you feel? Are there any smells you can sense? Once you have grounded yourself and slowed your heart rate, return to your exam questions.
Wow. Absolutely perfect. Spot on.
There we go.
Brilliant. And excellent advice too. That's really good. It's really
very good.
I must just say, so when I did my first degree down in Plymouth, one of my friends really suffered from exam nerves and a couple of times failed her exams because she panicked so much that she hyperventilated, panicked and ran out of the exam room. And so for the final exam, the doctor prescribed her some beta blockers and I think some Valium as well. This was quite a while back, think things were less progressive then in terms of therapy. But he did say, the doctor did say to her, take these tablets, and when you get into the exam room, close your eyes, count to 10 before you even look at the exam paper. And she did that and fell asleep.
Yeah.
Woke up 5 minutes before the end, panicked, ran out of the room.
Oh my God.
Fortunately, the invigilator saw that she'd been asleep for the whole thing and couldn't have cheated, so he allowed her to take the exam immediately afterwards in the side room. But
at least she was relaxed.
She was nicely relaxed. Yeah, but that's good advice, and a lot of people do get really unnaturally and unhealthily worried about exams. In vast excess of the disadvantageous results of failing.
Yeah. So you mentioned there that you suffered from exam nerves yourself.
Yeah. So but that's part of the reason why I finished my vet nursing qualification at college instead of university. The last exam that I did at university, it was a veterinary anatomy exam. I remember opening the paper and the first question was about the heart, and it was a page where we had to write draw a diagram, label it, and then explain the circulation of the heart. I literally drew a child's heart and then flicked through and I think I wrote like left, right, atrium, ventricles. That was it. And then I flicked through the rest of the exam paper, and I just panicked, and I had a panic attack, and I left the exam after about 5 minutes. And obviously I didn't pass that exam, but with that experience, I think it had kind of, the way that I viewed exams and the fear I had of failing them, it had kind of been building up to that, for that to happen, because I wasn't really viewing them in a healthy way. And I was allowing that fear to sort of overcome any of my studying beforehand. And then when I was in the exam, it was just kind of taking over, and I couldn't concentrate on the questions, and I couldn't show what I knew because I was so worried about not remembering. But because I was worried, I never remembered. So I had a year out with the intention to go back to university after that year out. But once I had that time out, I realized that I needed to have a bit less of an exam heavy environment to continue my studies in. And I had a very healthy environment at the college where I finished my qualification. And yeah, I didn't have that fear of exams anymore. A healthy fear, sure, but not that crazy fear.
There's got to be a healthy, you say fear, there's got to be a healthy something, hasn't there, to create the adrenaline surge, which helps the mind go. But when it gets so stifling, you can't think of the answers or anything about the subject. That's not healthy. And it leads us on, I think, quite nicely to the question we asked you to devise, the reflection question, because as we all know, CPD on its own is no good without a reflection.
Absolutely.
So could we ask you your reflection question?
Yes, if I can remember it. So I think the question is when you do an exam, is it more important the qualification that you get from the exam or the result that you achieve? And part of the reason that that's the reflection question is because, particularly I think for vets, often when you're at vet school, you've had to be the best in your year, achieve straight A stars to get in. And you go to vet school with this mentality that you need to always achieve the best grades and the highest marks because that's all you've ever done. Most people. And sometimes you don't actually need to get the top grades, and being able to, if you're not going to be an equine vet, then don't worry, just pass that exam. who cares if it's not your best mark? As long as you pass it and it's out the way, that's more important than stressing yourself out and trying to achieve the top you can possibly get.
Good reflection, and again, good advice. One of our lecturers always used to say to us, you need 50% for this. Yeah, don't sweat it. If you do a certificate in this, then you need more, but for now, you need 50%. And that's close enough, isn't it? Yeah. I always remember a biochemistry exam that I did in the third year, I think it must have been. I was running out of time because the previous question was on Krebs cycle, and I did that at degree level and loved it. And so I got hopelessly carried away looking at the electron structure of each individual compound, and then thought, oh God, oh no, I haven't enough time. So I looked at the last question, which said, what does inhibin do? So I wrote, inhibin inhibits, and then ran out of time. But I got 1 point.
That's all that matters. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say they really enjoy the Krebs cycle.
What?
Mike?
What? You've been mixing with the wrong people.
Oh dear.
Ah, heavens above.
You look at the three-dimensional structure of malate sometime and blow your mind. Really will.
Oh, what's your favourite chemical compound and why?
We're not going to limit you to the trichops.
This is
any chemical compound.
It was
ideally organic chemistry.
It was a trick question.
No,
Ruth.
but
Don't
this is an awful answer because my favourite chemical compound is methane, CH4, because it was the first compound that I learned because methane is in farts. And that's how much of an adult I am, in that my favourite compound is a fart.
Brilliant answer. What a great question, hey?
Love it. Love it.
We normally say what the world really wants to know is what's your favourite bread?
Yeah.
But I like chemical compound, actually. Methane,
isn't it?
That's a better answer.
While we're on the subject, what is your favourite bread?
Sunflower seeded whole grain.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah, I hate sourdough. I can't eat sourdough.
Oh.
Not that.
Oh.
Controversial.
I recently lost my sourdough ferment.
He cried about it for a week. You phoned me up.
Gone, it's gone. Can't get it back.
It's gone. What's gone? What's gone?
I thought I was over it.
The family. What? The house is burnt down. What? No. Yeah. Fair enough. All good.
But no, nothing beats a nice sunflower wholemeal batch, does it? Now, are we talking crust or soft?
Oh, there's got to be a crust. Sure. Yeah.
Do you go? There's a movement these days, isn't there, to go for a slightly burnt crust? A burnt crust type?
No, I'm not burnt crust. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a bit carcinogenic for me, I think.
Yeah, but it is absolutely. They're still going for it. I think we're drifting away from the subject, which is methane, farts, and you've put up very well with 2 old ones tonight, talking to you. I think we should wind things up because you've got an exam tomorrow, and you've got techniques for not getting stressed. But I'm sure you're thinking, "Oh my God, I've got to do exam tomorrow," and we don't want you to think that at all. All I'd like to do is pass you over to Mike, who will do the summing up.
But you haven't done the certificate yet, Julian.
While I get the certificate ready.
Oh, what? So I've just got to fill and cover your mistakes. Yeah, have another drink. Yeah, yes. I think I want a drink as well.
I'll have another drink. Yeah. I'm on. It's very nice, actually. I've moved on to an 8 Medoc now.
Yeah, very good. Have you got the certificate ready, or have I got to fill?
I've got it.
Oh, here we go. Go then. Professional filling.
Certificate of defeating exam fear.
Oh,
This certifies that we can face our fears and just go for it anyway. And it says, just dance. And so what do we have? We have a fish, and we have someone scuba diving. That's in fact, it's my wife scuba diving. I didn't ask for permission for her to have this photo on display. So there we go. This is when we were in Malaysia on a honeymoon, and it was the first time ever she scuba dived. And she got this wonderful Charleston move going to keep herself sort of balanced rather than adjusting her life jacket. There was this do, 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 and the hands are going tremendously well. So myself and the instructor we went down with grabbed hold of her. I actually took all the air out of her adjustable buoyancy life jacket and held her so she wasn't continuously going up and down, because she was getting very, very close to some lionfish, which I thought was a bad thing. Anyway, that's scuba diving there. What have we got there? There's some clownfish. There we go.
Oh, nice.
And there's Mike, who's just successfully parked a rib on our boating course.
Very well.
And you mentioned embroidery and some things you made, and I thought, well, I made this scrub top, and I went to a music festival recently and painted my first face to match the scrub top. So
I did wonder why you were wearing camouflage at work. I was a bit confused.
For those who don't know Julian, he's got a veritable collection of weird and wonderful, bright coloured, exotic scrub tops, and he loves them so much he wears them around exhibition halls as well. And
I do. Many of which I've made myself.
There we go.
I love it.
Yeah. There you go. So
I want a wacky one too.
Well, it strikes me you've got the skills to make them.
Yeah.
Make one.
You
There
should.
you go.
We're going to business, Ruth.
It's a great idea.
So that's your CPD certificate, and anyone who watches this is entitled to download one.
Download it and then send it to the RCVS claiming a full 1 hour of CPD. Well,
yep, 60 seconds.
Well, thank you very much for the certificate.
You're very, very welcome.
You're more than welcome.
And if you've enjoyed, if our listeners have enjoyed what they've heard from Ruth, and please get in touch. Click like, share it, and please subscribe, because it does help. It makes a difference. And all it leaves for us to say is, Ruth, thank you very much indeed for sharing your life with us this evening. May your dog go with you.
May your dog go with you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yamas.
Brilliant stuff. Listen, good luck tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Don't break a leg.
Well, I can still swim with one leg, it's fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And enjoy once you've got your qualification. I mean, I'm sure you've enjoyed the journey to get to this point anyway, and you've learned a lot every time you've been studying. So you'll get your qualification. You'll be fine.
I'm excited.
Brilliant.
Perfect. That's brilliant.
And enjoy your time in Cyprus.
Oh, thank you. It doesn't feel real. I booked it last minute. I only booked it a few days ago.
There you go. You're going to Cyprus.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Have a good time.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. All right,
Take
Ruth.
care.
You take care.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
for talking to me.
You're very, very
Real
welcome.
pleasure.
Thank
Really
you for talking to us.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Ta-ta. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.